Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. We're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge. Maybe this is the first time you've joined us. This would be the all-star panel you've heard so much. You've seen the billboards out in Vegas of these three, but they are right here live on the couch here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Jane, Rick, and Bruce. I know. But
BKP.
Is he fresh off the tour with the Blue Man Group or something like that?
Well, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Right.
What? Hey, how are you guys this morning?
Fine, and you?
I'm doing great. I'm processing, like a computer. I'm processing all these Democrat candidates. Oh. You know what I mean? It's like processing.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
And then Sleepy Joe came in yesterday. Now I wonder. You notice that the way they've got him, they're presenting him. It's almost like if he goes to the mic and he whispers, it's much more serious. You notice that, his level of his voice.
86 years old.
Trump said
no, 78.
76.
76.
Well, by the time if he becomes president, he'll be 78-year-old white guy running against in his own party against a 78-year-old white guy.
He's going to be 76 in
Bernie.
November.
Yeah, and Trump said,
but I'm saying
not the sharpest knife in the
when he
door
becomes
either.
president,
He'll be 76. He's 76 this November.
No. Let's see. So seriously, Joe jumps in yesterday, and you would think Pennsylvania is his home state, where he's from. You almost don't realize he's from Delaware.
Well, that's the only state that's going to be up for.
Well, I'll
you'd
tell
think
you what,
that
the
you'd think
media
so,
has
wouldn't
framed
you?
that, right?
Many Christmas.
They have framed Pennsylvania, and because why? Pennsylvania is the Republican fool's gold. I mean, I obviously the Democrats and the people in California and New York were not happy with Michigan and Wisconsin going Republican. But you remember from George W. Bush to John McCain to Mitt Romney, Pennsylvania was tagged Republican fool's gold, right? And Trump changed that. And they feel if they can flip back Pennsylvania that they're going to flip back Michigan. And I'll tell you what, I'm wondering if it's going to work on the ballot box, because I don't know that Trump doesn't have a chance this time of adding Minnesota.
Oh, could be big backlash.
How much of the Somali vote do you think he'll get?
Well,
yeah, right.
Well,
Trump's going to landslide.
Good point. And I'll tell you that actually Representative Omar is probably the best campaign commercial that you can do in Minnesota, because you know this because you guys pay attention, but Minnesota has an enormous timber industry. Okay, now a lot of times we get stuck in Madison, Wisconsin, and we get stuck in those, Detroit. But what Trump went up, and when he cut the regulations, talk about it. But
nope.
I remember when he did a business roundtable, when he does, people do not pay attention to those, and he went to Minnesota, and those people in those areas, they're happy, man. They're working, and they're working, and they don't want that out. And I read an article. And let me just share this with you. And would you agree that, as far as the media is concerned, and the way Joe Biden's doing his rollout, all right, where did Bernie Sanders have his town hall? Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And what was the impression they wanted to give you was that the steel mill just closed yesterday in Bethlehem. No, it's been closed for years. Actually, the grounds folks where Bethlehem Steel once, where there's a casino there today. If you go to where the Bethlehem Steel that ground, there's a casino.
We got to use it for something.
Well, you know what I'm saying, but they played the backdrop of like.
Yeah, they had the backdrop through the window of this old steel mill.
Yeah, well, that's what they
where
had.
they were, yeah.
But they did that on purpose. But Bertie did what? He had the town hall, Fox Town Hall, in Pennsylvania, right? And then Joe Biden last night, right? Where did he have a fundraiser? Who threw it? Philadelphia. Who? Comcast. Who is Comcast? The parent company of NBC. Come on, right?
Then now he's going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, a union thing.
Now, what they're trying to, and Joe, let me tell you this, and I'll say this right here. Rick, you were listening a couple weeks ago, and for transparency, she happens to be my sister. She was on, Elise Nover was on a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And what did she say their concern is? And she's not what I say, she's not a Republican in Pennsylvania. She is the Republican chairman for Northampton County, which turned red. Northampton is where Bethlehem, Pennsylvania is. She's the chairman of the Republican Party and has been for years.
Well, 2 weeks ago, and you were talking to her about,
who are they most in fear or concerned about?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Biden.
Joe Biden. They're concerned.
That was 2 weeks ago before he even came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been wavering back and forth. Had to get through the whole touchy-feely.
I didn't think
octopus
think
thing.
he'd run. I really didn't. I said it on this show. I didn't think.
I think
he'd
we
run.
should call him Octopus Joe.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think when everything came out, which we know, when I say there's people that don't pay attention, and I don't want you to take that wrong because they're busy with lives, and they don't focus on some things. If 2 weeks when everything came out about Joe Biden, that wasn't new to you. That wasn't new to you or you.
There's
We
more
know-
that
I
needs to
got
come
it.
out.
It needs to come out. All right. Will it? Do you not think that the Anita Hill, the crime bill, and especially all the Joe Biden, put his arm around me.
Are you talking about the foreign influence?
No.
Hadn't even gotten to that.
The
yet.
Roman hands and the
Ukrainian.
Russian fingers.
Right. What I'm saying is,
There's the Ukrainian thing.
do you think I didn't go? I got it. Do you think that all came out earlier to get it out of the way?
Of course it did.
Yeah, he
For
had
the
to,
media to get it out of the
Yeah.
way.
Here you go, conspiracy again. No, it was just
He has a
happens.
big
That's
problem.
just me, Bruce. Here we go. I feel like a Reagan Mondale debate. There he goes again. Or was that Carter?
Things don't just happen. I mean, things just.
Thank you.
These are planned all along. The rollout. If people think that this was just random, all of a sudden they focus on Joe's, touchy feely. That's
All right, well, let me
hogwash.
ask you this. Joe rolls out, he's running, and then you have 3 weeks of bad media where the lady in Nevada or wherever she was running for, was it Nevada Secretary of State?
Yeah.
He sniffed her hair, all the hair
Yeah.
sniffing. All jokes aside, seriously, he announces and then what are you doing over there?
He's over there going, oh my God.
He announces, and then all that happens, right?
Yeah.
Why not let all that happen, then announce? Did they set it up for him, Jane?
Heck
What
yeah.
say you? Get in this. Don't hold back.
Yeah,
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No. I think all of they have a plan, meaning the Black Hats. I think it's a poor plan. It's just ridiculous. It's water thin, and whether they bring this little stuff out now and then, I think it's irrelevant. There's bigger stuff. There's Ukraine with his son. It was on the board of this thing. I'm sure Biden got a kickback to that.
The guy got fired in Ukraine. Joe put pressure on him, remember?
Yeah. Oh, he bragged about it.
Yeah.
Did you hear the interview
Yeah.
when he said, I told him the United States would... I'm thinking, who gives you that authority to... And brag about it. But...
Happened to be the guy that was investigating this. By the way, am I right?
Yeah. Happened to be the guy who was investigating the Suns. I'm on the board. I got
Right.
$3 million or something. Right. But when I saw Creepy Joe do his whisper thing about... We can't let this president have another 4 years. It's just, it will ruin our country. I mean, I can't...
Remember what he said? He said the same thing Obama did. He said, This president, if he's in there for 8 years,
Yeah.
will transformationally change this country.
And it was all.
What did Obama
there,
say?
There were bigger negative words. I can't remember. But the thing is, if anybody, I don't care if you're the blackest hat on the world, you see what our economy's doing, what industry's doing, and can listen to him saying this president is going to fundamentally destroy our country. I'm thinking, what are the reactions of the people that? So it's all a show. It's all a play. It's all a planned bull stuff.
Well, what is this country built on?
I mean, that is
capitalism,
just beyond.
and they want to just gut it.
And all of these black hats or Democrats or what do you want to call them? I mean, their 401ks are soaring. I mean, their stock market's soaring. What do they want to do? And then Bernie won't give any of his money back. He paid his taxes. That's not the point. That's not the point.
You see the internet
it's all
picture?
such stupid.
Michael Moore, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie were sitting at a.
I couldn't have stood
They
that.
said net worth $61 million
Yeah, there you
of the
go.
three of them.
There you
and they're talking to people about income inequality.
Free this.
It's so much BS.
There you go.
And why do people that are intelligent, of which I know a lot of them that are Democrats, I know a lot of them.
Why do you
they're,
run with
They're
that
very
crowd?
intelligent. Why
are you hanging out with them?
Why are
Yeah.
Why are they in that jet stream that they can't get out of? Why do these people, whom I know and I love, perpetuate this? I just don't get it.
Here's what I don't understand. Among a lot of other things.
Here it is. You've waited for
I know,
how
right?
long?
During one of his presidential runs, he was accused of plagiarism.
Yep.
And he
Right
left,
out of the book.
he left,
Right
he
out-
left
remember
the
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 race.
sixth grade
Yeah.
stuff.
He left the race because people didn't trust him. They called him a liar and a plagiarist.
Right.
Did that change?
Yeah.
Is that gone?
Is that gone? Does he get a rewind? Are they going to bring that up again? Are they going to say, "Oh, by the way,
probably
remember
will.
when you dropped out because of this?
You
Did that
lied
change?"
The
about
media won't bring it up. Trump will.
Trump will. Believe me, they're getting.
That's what I don't understand. When these people
Right.
keep running and they drop out for certain reasons, those reasons are still there.
Time heals all wounds.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Joe is Joe to me is okay. Remember last time the super delegates, the Democrat super delegates, we do know they stole, they cheated Bernie. The Democrats did,
And I think he's afraid of that happening again.
no, it's already happened.
It has.
No, well, I'll tell you what I
mean,
think. I tell you what I think. It's because here's the thing. Okay, so the Democrats got a really black eye in their own party. Okay, and their own people were upset with the rigged system. See, here's the thing.
Particularly
You're
younger
100%
people.
right.
Yeah.
When you and it's a bigger question why you're hanging out with these people. But anyhow, when you're hanging out with them, and you're saying, why don't they acknowledge this? When you leave, I'll tell you what's happening. They do. They just don't let you know it.
They do what?
They acknowledge. They understand. They just don't let you know they understand. Because the Democrats within are upset with the system, but now they don't want to take it out. Democrats do a better job of not taking it outside the family than Republicans. Now they do. Okay, Republicans. I mean, we get Mitt Romney runs right out, and then I don't want to go, but you understand, okay? What was I'm getting off here, but the only reason I bring this up, Rick, you and I agree. I was listening to Rush this past week, I think it was, or maybe first of the week or whatever, because I wanted to hear him talk about playing golf with the president.
Yeah.
I said I want to hear what that was like. But in waiting for that, a caller called in and said, "What, Rick?"
From Colorado.
What did that caller say?
The Trump does not really have the Senate. If the Senate got the privilege of a private vote in an impeachment hearing, Trump would go down.
That's right. If the vote was private, and I agree with that. And what
does that tell you?
If the vote was a
Rhinos,
private vote,
McConnell.
Trump doesn't have. You need to realize out there, Trump does not have the Republican Party. Whether you, when, not the Republicans in the House and the Senate. So moving back, Democrats know the system was rigged. They know Bernie got cheated, and they know it's corrupt internally. So what do they have to do this time for their voter? They have to look like they changed the system. They have to look like they're inclusive. They have to look like they didn't pick their candidate, okay? They have to look like all these things. Are you telling me out of these 20, all right, that some of these dumbasses really think they can win?
Sorry, Mom.
All right, I'm sorry. Do you think that?
Dumb masses.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dumb
that's what
masses.
he
You know I
said,
can't
dumb
pronunciate
It
that.
sounded like donkeys to me.
Do you think that some of these
Dumb
people
donkeys, that works.
really think they can win? Now, on the flip side, let's go with the 20 Republican candidates before. Okay, Rand Paul thought he had a chance.
I
Ted
love that
Cruz
guy,
thought he had a
Rand.
chance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Jeb Bush thought he had a chance. What do you like?
Little Marco.
He thought he had a chance, right? These candidates, John Kasich, these candidates on the Republican side really thought they had a chance. You think these 20 that are getting in the Democrats really think they have a chance? I think nothing has changed. I think Joe, we'll see, but I think Joe is the anointed one. That's why Joe he went like this to all of them and said, I'm going to Comcast. You guys can go brag if you want that you're taking $20 donations. I'm going to see if somebody's going to pay $2,500 a plate, and I don't care what you say tomorrow, right?
Yep.
They'll
Didn't
pay
care, did he?
Trump
That's my-
said he thought it would be Biden.
So
or
I think the
Bernie.
Democrats are still rigged. They're still they're going to appoint their candidate. Whoever gets in, and I know, say it, conspiracy theory, Bruce. Whoever gets in the black SUV with the guys in the hats and says, "Hey, we will do whatever you tell us," that's their candidate.
Let me just say, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy. Think
Thank
about
you.
that.
Theory
It's-
is something
it's
that
a conspiracy.
It's not proven, right?
Period. Yeah, it's like
Right.
I'm thinking maybe there's
Exactly.
people
It's a
on Mars.
conspiracy
but
reality.
There really are
There you go.
conspiracies.
That's
all
what
the
we
time.
did. I'm telling you, whoever, when the black, like, see here.
Hillary
Let me.
coined that. I think.
Okay, let me say this if we're going to get
That's
controversial.
right.
We got customers in here because I don't want to upset somebody. So let me tell you what happened about 8 years ago. There was this black little boy on the corner handing out pamphlets, okay? This little black kid's handing out pamphlets. Hey, abortion's here, free this here, free that here. And this black SUV got pulled up to the counter and said, little boy, come here, get in the car. And he got in the car and he said, we'd like to make you president. Wow, I would love that. And he threw the pamphlets out the window and he jumped in the black SUV and then he became Barack Hussein Obama and he was president for 8 years. So whoever gets in the black SUV and says, I'll do what I'm told, gets the job. Now, I hope I didn't upset too many people. You upset?
That's what
How are you?
AOC's
I'm
doing.
great.
Are you?
No,
And yourself?
No, I know that's true.
I don't
to
know.
a
Was that
sense.
wrong? Was that wrong?
No, that's what they did to AOC. They
And I'm
had-
sorry,
they
you
had
can say what
interviews.
you want. Was Barack Hussein Obama a community organizer standing on the corner handing out pamphlets at
Yes.
community
With
centers?
a credit card that was overdraft.
Right. I mean, and next
They
thing,
had their
right?
eye on
Couldn't
him
even
long
get into
before.
the convention.
The audacity of hope. Come on. Give the poor guy.
Yeah, and you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, oh, no, that just proved anybody in America could be president.
Oh,
no, it just proves
proves-
anybody that gets in the black SUV and does what you're told can be
Anybody who's
president.
chosen at the Bohemian
And
Grove,
what
that's
happened?
who goes. And
Trump
they
had
choose.
You
Trump
got that
had
right.
his own Air Force One and his own black SUV, and he didn't have to get into anybody else's. Bottom line, right?
You know what?
Is that just
His
weird?
SUV had the gold rims, though.
Gold rims?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, geez,
spinners.
The 22s.
You know,
Just like Josh's car.
It's like
I don't-
Rush.
I don't-
It's like Rush said, and I got some subjects we're gonna get to. It's like Rush said this week. He said the great thing of playing golf with him is every hole he lets you know it's the greatest one on his course.
Wasn't that funny?
That was hilarious.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but you can just hear Trump saying this.
Yeah.
They come to the 18th, they come to the 17th hole. It's a par 3. This is the best par 3. Wait a minute, there's one other one, but that's my course.
Yeah. There's another par
There's
three
another
that's
par
not
3
bad,
that's
but
even
that's
better.
my course.
That's my
also.
course.
This is the best par 3 in the world. There's not another. What's wrong with having an attitude that you're gonna be your best have, you know, what's
And do
wrong with-
what's right for the
Yeah,
country.
what's
You
wrong
keep
with
saying
that?
the same thing over and over again. That infuriates some people. Why does he have to keep saying it's wonderful, beautiful, biggest, da 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 da?
I'm
But
gonna
on the
leave-
other hand, they could say the same about their own thing, and then they don't about their own side.
Yeah, and on the other
Saying
hand, you
the
had
same
Obama,
thing,
who basically
collusion.
was cutting us down for 8 years.
All right. Last thing on Pennsylvania, Joe, because a couple things: impeachment, Sri Lanka, Easter. We're gonna get there. So one more thing on Pennsylvania. Actually, I brought up on the 24th of April. This is not an old article. A couple days back in the Hill website. If you go to the Hill, you will read the article where the state of Pennsylvania has the lowest unemployment in the recorded history since 1976. Pennsylvania is 3.9. The state has never they've gotten to 4% twice, but they started more people are employed in Pennsylvania today than since recorded history 1976.
And more Americans are working than
They
ever
don't.
before.
They
It's a
don't
record.
want that out. They are going to try to manipulate the story in Pennsylvania. And I tell you what's bad is you're going to work. So your mom, dad, you're going to work this morning, and before you get to work, they want you to think you're not happy and don't have a job. And why the hell I'm driving down here? I'm serious. That's how the media. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that's one thing. Let's go to impeachment. Congressman Doug Collins was on my show 2 days ago, and I asked him point blank, and I know we keep hearing this, but I asked him point blank. You know, is Barr serious about looking at this? And he's absolutely. Congressman Doug Collins. Now, another thing, Congressman Doug Collins, which happens to be our congressman here, the ranking Republican on the House Judiciary Committee, he has read the unredacted report. Okay, go ahead.
He indicated also on the show, which really took me back a little bit, that he was one of the only ones that took the time to go
Right. They've
to the Hill and go into the room with no recording devices or no copy machines and read the report.
How many were able to
But
do
the
that?
media won't tell you that, right?
How many didn't
All
have
of
the right?
all of the head.
Right? Anybody
I
in the
think
House
it was.
and
I
the
think it
Senate.
was just the heads of the.
I
Committees?
think it was
The
the
heads
heads
of
of
the
the committee.
committees.
But
And they
what
didn't
he's
go?
really
I
saying
didn't know
is
that.
the report
He said
was
he was the only
available.
one.
That skiff room. That's like
Yeah,
the
the
full
staff
report
room.
was available.
That Obama used to have meetings in
Okay,
about the
now
I thought that was important to point out.
no,
It is
no, I think
important.
it's right because, and another thing, Congress is on recess, right? Mm-hmm. He took the time to fly back, so he flew back.
I would have been the first one in that room, wouldn't have you?
Absolutely.
He flew back and Congressman Collins read the unredacted report. And here's a question I asked him on my show: is there anything in there we need to know? This.
yeah.
He said no. He
Oh,
said the
Yeah,
redacted.
firstly, he said in part one, he said there were very, very few redactions.
Yeah.
And secondly, in part two, he said, yeah, there were a lot of redactions because that was all the grand jury.
Absolutely.
And cases that are ongoing.
Ongoing, yeah.
But he was specific in his point to say, and he didn't leak any information, he just said, there is nothing that you will read that will change the redacted version from the unredacted version in terms of your thinking. You read one, you read the other. It's like,
But the Democrats will read between the lines and come up with
Of
some
course.
fiction. no matter what.
Congressman Collins says Barr serious. Barr
Good.
serious.
I believe
Oh, here's what I
Barr's
love.
dead
Here's what I
serious.
love. Listen, I know. I get touchy. All right. Listen. Would you let me
I
get
didn't
this?
react
Here's what no.
properly.
The reason I got excited about that because remember this. This I thought was hilarious because what has his character or whatever. What are the Democrats doing? They're tearing Barr down. He's a liar.
Oh, yeah.
He is Trump's Roy Cohn. We've heard all that, right?
I'm waiting for some woman to come forward.
So here,
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
but the Democrats have just been beating Barr up as a liar, and he spun the report, everything like that.
he's
Congressman.
his lackey.
Yeah, what is what Congressman Collins said to that question? The Democrats just don't. They just don't recognize what an attorney general looks like.
Yeah.
He said, right? He said
That's funny.
they had Eric
accent.
Holder, Loretta Lynch. He said, He said
Ooh.
they just don't recognize an attorney general when they see one. Remember, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
He says Barr is serious. and he is very satisfied after reading everything how our Attorney General presented it to the American people. Now, the other thing I want to say, and I don't want to go in the weeds on this, but I did an hour and a half the other day.
No fun, no weeds.
No, you can go wherever you want. But I've been really studying recently, and I have for years, but I've really been studying recently. I got several hours in Watergate. Yes, I did.
That was a pimp on the pickle, they say
All right.
now.
Exactly. This is worse than Watergate, they say, right?
Huh.
So I've watched, I know I lead a boring life. I've watched hours of Watergate testimony, hours, in the last week and a half.
have?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I love that
Mamma
stuff.
mia.
I love that stuff.
I
In
watched
fact,
it.
that's where I learned bad words.
Ooh.
No, from my dad, but not
Oh,
real
from
bad
your dad.
words. Because I remember, I always thought Sam Irving had 3 names.
Oh, did one
And I
start
thought-
with, and his middle name was an F, like Frank?
Yeah, and I thought I thought John Dean had 3 names, and I thought that damn John Ehrlichman. I thought that that's where I learned a couple bad words as a kid. But anyway, but here's the thing to get on the track: pay attention to the media. Watergate. Now they're not talking about the Clinton impeachment. They're talking Watergate, right? Every time Watergate. And I started thinking, and I remember Watergate very well, but I started thinking, why Watergate? And that's where I went back and started researching. And then Adam Schiff, and what is Watergate? The break-in of the DNC, right? And then Adam Schiff says this is worse than Nixon. The obstruction, right? Worse than Nixon. And last but not least, the break-in of Watergate. So what I'm starting to hear the Democrats roll out is they're actually calling the Russian hack, the Russian break-in. They call it the Russian
Just
break-in,
subliminally
right?
hooking it
And
together.
obstruction. If you go back and you watch Sam Irving's opening comments as the chair of the Watergate Committee, he brings up what do you hear? Democracy, saving our democracy. Sam Irving opens the Watergate with our democracy and obstruction, and John Dean was White House counsel. Pay attention to that, right? Who is the first guy they won up?
McGahn.
Don McGahn, White House counsel. Now, if you pay attention to the media, I watch these pieces of garbage out there. They ain't got sense enough to push the damn elevator button to go to the studio where they're at, let alone tell the American
about the
people.
basement?
But here the
God,
thing is,
God.
seriously, if you'll pay attention to the media, they're building up Don McGahn's credibility right now. He's an honest guy. He has no. Watch this. This is getting set up, and they're pushing to get him up there. So
gonna
what say
boomerang.
you?
And who's out there crying, "We've got to save our democracy"? Pelosi.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is so tailor-made. It's like,
Right.
They all got
okay,
the memo.
yeah. Give me.
Again.
Yeah,
would
yeah.
you give me the outlines of Watergate so we can replicate this in 2019, please?
Well, I think one
What do we do
reason-
next?
Yep.
One reason they're spouting Watergate is remember the outcome. The president
Step
resigned, or they would have picked that. That's I think
Effective
the thing
noon tomorrow.
They want back here. is
No.
This is what happened.
Let me tell you this.
They want
Let me
to
tell
see
you
him
this.
on that helicopter.
Let me tell you this. I did an hour and a half.
The legs are good.
I did an hour and a half. Let me tell you this. Oh, wait, stay with me here. Nixon resigned, effective noon tomorrow, right? We got Gerald Ford.
In the wings.
Okay, the chaos in the country, regardless of what you think, if this would parallel with Trump, the chaos would be the same. The chaos in the country, we ended up with what? We ended up with Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale. So if they could get a Trump effective noon tomorrow, okay, I resign, we'll get a Mike Pence. There'll be chaos in this country, whether you
And
accept it or not,
guess who?
and we could end up with a Joe Biden. And that to me, that is something that's out there with them that they could. There's a
Oh,
hope
they're
that could
definitely
happen.
thinking of that. But I've got
Yeah.
one more scary thing.
So let's not end up with a Jimmy Carter, Walter Mondale America.
No, we're not going to. I promise you. Here is what I saw yesterday in a quick one. I'm not sure if it was on YouTube or if it was on Fox, but I think it was on television. But I was telling my husband, when I watch YouTube, it's not like some wiry-haired person with, a long gray beard. It's a compilation of news. It's someone just brings everything together. They let you read what Judicial Watch has actually gotten, and you read the documentary. It's not going out on a limb. I save that for my free time, going out on a limb, right? So here's what and you'll hear it again. I think it was Stroke who testified to this, that they tried to infiltrate the White House immediately. And they did infiltrate it with, guess who? Pence's chief of staff.
Yep.
You heard that?
Oh yeah.
Now that just kind of went blue.
Yep. Not with.
And I'm thinking, see, I think Pence is a horrible anti-Trump, never Trump, a lot of other things. I think he is. And then there's a lot more to Pence about them trying to get rid of Trump, and Pence was in the emails chain. Have you read that?
Yep.
And
doing the leaking.
Yeah. So they want Pence. It was at that point it would have been Pence Ryan that would have, because the Pelosi's next in line after the vice president, which is a chilling thought.
Do you think Pence will be the vice president?
I think Pence is going down. I think Pence.
Okay, then who will Trump pick as his vice president?
Well, anybody, hell, Piggy Wiggy, I don't care. But
Piggy Wiggy.
No, I'm kidding.
You heard it here first, folks.
I mean,
Piggy Wiggy is in.
There are a lot of people he could
I
pick.
love that joke. I mean,
Vote for me, Piggy Wiggy.
That's my point, though. My point is,
get a button, man. I'm just gonna start wearing it places. Who is that?
I thought it was going to be easy peasy
Piggy
myself.
Wiggy for vice president.
This will need an explanation.
But,
All right.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay.
I think
Okay.
Trump knows all this. He knows all this. He knows more about Pence than.
Okay, the Mueller report, folks. The Mueller report. The Democrats are out there, and the media is helping them tell you that they don't think they should start impeachment. They don't think they should. They don't think it's good for the country. That's the smokescreen. You need to pay attention to the facts that the impeachment has started. The Mueller report, that is the articles of impeachment, whether they call it that or not.
Yeah.
And now Jerry Nadler, the House Judiciary Committee chair, is wanting to bring McGahn, Mueller, start this list of people in there. They'll not call it, but those are the impeachment hearings. You'll never hear it called that, but it's going on now.
Does McGahn have to answer questions? Can he take
Well,
the
the
fifth?
executive order, the
Executive privilege.
So we'll see.
But can he take the fifth too?
We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
that be
Sri
damaging?
Lanka. What is the joke? What was it on Jeopardy? What was the? Wheel of Fortune. What was the one letter that was missing?
It was like an eye, but
Aye.
it showed Christian.
But you ever see the person on Wheel of Fortune and you're sitting there and you're watching, and every letter is filled out except for one, and they still can't get the puzzle?
Yeah.
Did anybody see the Hillary Clinton joke this week?
No.
That Christian was completely she's on Wheel of Fortune. And Christian was completely spelled out, and it was just missing an I, and she couldn't solve the puzzle.
Oh.
They can't say Christian. Obama and her put out Easter worshipers on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Unbelievable.
Easter worshipers.
Can we switch gears?
Yeah, go anywhere you want because we only got a couple minutes.
Let's talk about Rosenstein real quickly.
Go for it.
Does it seem to you, and we've talked previous to the report in the Fox News this morning, that we thought possibly he had flipped, and now he is trying to save his keister?
Yeah. Character rebuilding.
Right. Attorney General Barr kept him around. He's got 2 more months left to go before he retires. He was he was rear.
He helped write the summary.
He helped write the
Did you
summary.
notice his blush in that? He went red.
He stood
didn't
behind
move.
Barr.
He didn't move.
Now, pictures worth 1,000 words. He stood, to me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I know you, at the press conference, he stood behind Barr, almost like, I support what he's saying. I'm telling you, I've been here all along. I've been here all along.
Well, yesterday he was in a private. We talked about it a little bit before we came on. He was in and do the research. He was in a private setting yesterday in New York City with Serbian lawyers of Serbian something or other. He was giving a speech, and he railed on the Obama administration for the Russian involvement and how they lied with Comey, and it was a cover-up. They should have shared with the American people what was going on, and they never did. And he exposed that whole thing, and he really blistered Comey, and he blistered the Obama administration. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is the same guy.
Goes to the White House. It just goes all the way. Spying on our citizens,
No question.
spying on a political campaign,
Surveillance.
surveillance, everything.
But don't
But
forget.
do you think that?
Go
Do you
ahead.
guys think that he has come to this side, if you will, and
I
he's
don't know.
trying to save himself?
I told you what I think.
Yeah, I think so. He's rehabilitating himself. He wants to write a book, probably.
I think Trump called
He
him
wants
into
to get
that
out of
famous
jail.
meeting
Well.
and said, if you don't join the club, you're not only going down, you're going to be for treason, you may be hung. I mean, seriously.
We're
and,
getting-
and if you don't do
Dogs in the house.
what we do,
I don't want to get impatient. My thought is I hope in Trump's second term is where we're going to see everything. So I don't want to get nervous here in the next year and a half and say, well, nothing's happening, nothing's
we're
happening.
going to see it.
Yeah, but I think what we really see is in Trump's second term where there's nothing to worry about and they go after it. Winners and losers, can't hit the jump shot, whatever you call it nowadays.
Home runs and air balls.
Home runs and air balls.
Airball, New York City. They are working to cut out processed red meat in municipal facilities by 2040 to combat climate change.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah. Home run. Rabbi Abraham Cooper schooled Miss Omar, who made the statement this week that Jesus is a Palestinian. He goes, rubbish. Palestine is a name dreamed up by the Romans like back in 62 AD or 66 AD when they tore the temple down. And I just have a little promotion here. One of the small groups of Ridge Church is doing a yard sale in Morganton, 7:30 to noon. It's right when you come into Morganton, you'll see where it is.
Rick.
Josh, I need a prop. Can you throw me your lid? Yeah. Come on, baby. All right, my winner is the Fannin Rebels.
There you go.
The Fannin Rebels, who won the region for the first time in school history, and they annihilated Haralson County 15-1 and 9-1.
9-1 last
The other night they swept the doubleheader. They've maintained home field advantage. So good luck to the Fannin Rebels.
They will be home at next Thursday
You've
night.
probably got an announcement to make in the next couple of days, but we won't go there now.
Right.
Okay, and my loser of the week are the little twits that are in Nashville. The brides-to-be who are twittering all over the place and moaning because they planned to have their bachelorette party there, but the NFL has now got the draft. They took over and they have private parties in all the bars for the NFL, and the bars are closed. You do your homework. Number one thing you need to do when you plan an event, ladies, see what your competition is.
I'm with him. This is good. That's good. I mean, it all works.
No, I've got to go back and watch the tape because I don't know who the VP is. Who was that again? Piggly Wiggles or something? Or
Piggy Wiggy.
Piggy Wiggy.
Piggy Wiggy.
You
Okay,
remember that.
Piggy Wiggy. I got to
That's
remember
a
that.
nursery rhyme
Folks,
somewhere.
I've got the North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton coming up right now from Cameron Hall. And Rick, stop that panting. Oh, that's not you. That's the Humane Society, our pet of the week from the
That was
Humane
pretty
Society of Blue Ridge. But anyhow, here's a subject. We don't want to go down that road too far right now because we don't
always
have
wanna go
time,
down
right?
those roads.
But Mayor Pete, okay. So I just want to say out there, let's think about it this week. Franklin Graham put out a tweet this week
Yeah. Did you see that?
concerning Pete Buttigieg and repentance, and the media has gone nuts because Pete Buttigieg,
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
God, that one gets me right. Mayor Pete, he's gay, he's a newlywed, right? And he is talking about his Christianity. Well, Franklin Graham put out a tweet. Look at that real close, because I did a segment this week, evangelicals. Interesting. We're going to talk more about that Monday. Okay, evangelicals and how they support Donald Trump and maybe not Mayor Pete, and they sure didn't support Mitt Romney. I'm your host. We'll be back right after these messages. Thanks a lot, guys. Great conversations all the time. We don't get to everything like Sri Lanka, and we certainly didn't get a chance to go to Notre Dame, where they're still saying it maybe was faulty wiring.
No,
Take us out of here.
there's a lot on that. You read.